Good evening. Welcome to historic Durango, Fort Lewis College's Center of Innovation. We are bringing our next installment of the Hawk Tank workshops. It is fantastic to have everyone in the room as well as everyone online. If you're online, can you just sort of maybe put something in the chat that you can hear us and see us? That'd be great. Okay. Well, we'll hope we are live, and we'll go from there. Here's what we'd like to talk about today. This rolling. Cool. I want to spend the majority of our 2 hours today talking about the business model canvas. What the business model canvas is a really great model to help entrepreneurs, budding businesses develop their ideas and concepts. And we'll go into some pretty good detail on this. So first and foremost, business model canvas is not a business plan. And you may be asking yourself, well, why the heck are we doing it? This is a business plan competition. This should be more or less the foundation of your business plan. Okay. I'm going to kind of share with you the differences between a business plan and business model canvas, but I love business model canvas because it's an extremely powerful tool. It shows the interconnections and the relationships between your customers and value propositions and relationships and things of that nature. And this has been adopted across sort of entrepreneurship, across startups, accelerators, and incubators. Let's see. Now let's compare a little bit about business model canvas and a business plan. Okay. Number one, what is a business plan? Okay, or business planning in general. Okay. A business plan is a formal document that really sort of outlines your strategy, your challenges, and it has all these components, just like you're going to be doing for Hawk Tank. There'll be an executive summary, company description, market research, all of that depth that you find on our website that the judges will be looking for. When we think about a business model canvas, it is sort of 9 sections, 9 building blocks that were developed by a gentleman named Dr. Osterwalder, and he did this for his master's and PhD. And this has customer segments, value props, channels, and revenue streams. All will be integrated into your business plan. Okay. Cool. Key differences. Business plan, very detailed, very sequential, like going in order. Extremely, as you all are probably already experiencing, very time consuming. Okay. Business model canvas, very visual. I have posters, I have stickies for anyone that would like one. And guess what? It's very agile, very quick. You put up some value propositions, they change, you take them out, you replace them. Very dynamic, okay? Very, very dynamic. Why do we do business plans? Very comprehensive, detailed, and great for investors. If you've had me in class, one of the first questions I ask is, what are business plans for? And a lot of students say, well, it's for planning, it's so we know what we're doing. And I actually say, well, no. The way I was sort of taught and trained is a business plan pretty much is you need that to go get money. As soon as you write a business plan, it's kind of archaic, it's stagnant, it's not dynamic. Okay? Is it valuable to learn how to write them? Absolutely. Okay? It's important in order to get capital, in order to get perhaps really good employees. Now, when we think about BMC or business model canvas, this is that robustness, lean startups, okay, trying to do a lot with a little, being able to pivot quickly. And that's the reason why we sort of start Hawk Tank really looking at the business model canvas. I'm going to take you through the order that Dr. Osterwald recommends. Okay, there is some debate that we start with the customer segments before the value propositions, but Dr. Osterwalder says, no, let's start with the value prop, and then I'll take you through sort of the order that he recommends. Okay, so what is a value proposition? This is the core of your business plan. And we can argue that this is the core of every successful business. when you reflect on the value proposition, it should be, what value does your product and service deliver to your customers? And the one thing we want to keep in the back of our mind is, how does this compare to our competitors? What are the problems we're trying to solve? Okay. What are the needs? What are the jobs your customers have? And what are the pains and gains you're trying to give them? Think about your product and service attributes. Is it new? Is it giving you better performance? Can you customize better? Are you offering full service in an industry that doesn't have that? Are you providing it at a lower price for customers than the competition, but the same quality? These are what we have to really understand and explore, and this will be different for every customer segment. There might be some overlaps among customer segments, but there will be some mutual exclusivity. Why? Because if you have 3 customer segments, which we're going to talk about next, and they all have the exact same value props, guess what? You don't have 3 segments. You have 1. Okay? And actually would make your life easier. And so, but we'll talk more about that. So value propositions. The next one is customer segments. Who are you creating value for? Okay? Who specifically needs this? Now's when you start thinking about, how are you going to start reaching them? Okay? How are you going to communicate with them? Are you creating a mass universal product? Are you creating a niche product? That is all going to sort of kind of help you answer that customer segmentation question. When we think about customer segmentation, and we have a session on this, okay? So at least for this initial business model canvas, we're just getting down our initial ideas. We're going to help you narrow down. We're going to give you some advice on how to survey potential market, exactly what questions you should ask. Okay, so we'll go over that without a doubt when we go sort of more into some of the marketing stuff that we'll be talking about. But think about it. And what we want to do also is we want to narrow it down. Your customer segment is not everyone in Durango. You might have a solution or product that everyone in Durango might want. I would actually argue I'd find that hard too, because I'm sure my 12-year-old would not want that. So what is the age? What is the gender? What is the demographics? Anyone have any ideas on why we want to narrow down that customer segment as much as possible? What do you think, AJ?
Helps you be more specific in how you reach out to them.
I like it. Why do we care about that?
So you're going to get them to know about your stuff.
So AJ said, well, it helps us really understand how to get out to people. I agree with AJ for sure. AJ is one of our marketing experts. I love it. But I think it's more important, AJ, and this is it. I think from a startup perspective is you have limited resources. So you really need to hone in on exactly who those first movers are going to be. Because you can't market, at least for most startups, you can't market to 18,000 people, city of Durango, 57,000 for La Plata County. And for some of your products, from my conversations with you, it doesn't even make sense. Because you're already focusing on a specific market segment, and that's who we have to really understand who that is. From customer segments, Valdez said, well, listen, we have these value propositions that are unique for customer segments and your product and service. We know who we want to target. If we have distinct market segments, there is an extremely high likelihood that they expect different types of customer relationships. Let me give you an example. I think there's a big difference when it comes to the type of relationship someone might want, let's say, for financial services and banks. My father would never, ever in a million years have his money in an online bank. He would never in a million years have his money in a bank that he couldn't go up, talk to a person, and collect his money. That's just how he is, old school. Fast forward a few years to his son, yours truly. I do not want to talk to anyone. Okay. When I first came to Durango many moons ago, there were banks I wanted to do business with. First National Bank of Durango is actually the example. Guess what? They had no online apps. They had no way where I could deposit money without going into a bank. I did not go to First National Bank. Okay. Very different type of relationship. Are you talking about a millennial versus Generation X? Very different types of relationships. That's what we're talking about when we think about these relationships. What do they expect? How do they expect that to actually get it? How do you expect them to maintain that? How can you grow it through those relationships? Are they expecting a dedicated person? Are they more like me? They want automated services. They don't want to talk to any human beings. For the most part, every customer segment may have a different expectation in terms of customer relationships. Now, there might be some overlap, without a doubt. Okay? But once again, when we describe these customer segments, by the fact that we have multiple, is you're telling yourself, your audience, funders, that, hey, guess what? They have different value props. They have different relationships. Arguably, they have different channels, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay? Any questions? Relationships? And we know also it'll cost differently. Think about that bank. It costs a lot to have people serve other people. It's a lot cheaper to have it automated. And this might be the decision you make. Is guess what? You have 4 customer segments. You say, yes, these are the ones. But you know what? These 2 will be first movers, and these 2 are the cheapest. So maybe that's the one you target first. Okay? Channels and distribution. This is one of my most exciting. I am so excited about channels. Let's see here. Rosie, describe what's a channel? What's a channel?
It's a way to market and get your business name out there.
Okay, that's one example of a channel. Let's see here. Jeremy, what do you think? What's a channel?
Let me think for a second.
I know we have some cheaters here. Some little cheating slide. Let's see if we can.
I would say it goes farther than just the marketing, like how you get your product out there.
Love it.
How are you getting to your, in my case, like your service.
Love it. So Jeremy's an alum. Okay, it's competing in the alumni track, so it might be a little rusty here, but you got it. I love it. No, we're all good. Okay. Channels. Here's how I look at channels. Think about your channel. Typically, when we think about channels, we think about revenue streams, and we think about sort of certain market segments. And a lot of times it's, hey, this is how I'm going to sell my stuff. Am I going to sell it online? Am I going to sell it brick and mortars? Am I going to sell it through a third party? That's sort of your sales channel, right? That's something that we hear a lot. It's a lot more. I think it's a lot more exciting, okay? The way I think of channels is think about your customer segments, think about the relationships they're looking for, and then think about more or less the entire buying cycle, okay? So your first sort of channel is, hey, how do they find out about my goods and services? How do they do it? Is it an influencer? Is it a blog? Is it a magazine? Is it expert recommendations? How do they like even just find out about it? That's one channel. Could be a couple items. The next is how do they evaluate if it's a quality product or service? How do they evaluate if you can actually deliver on it? Once again, go back. Is it an influencer? Is it an expert? Is there some national organization? Okay. I have a student right now working on using a NASA patent, and they want to use they want to make a swaddler for like newborns. okay? And so you kind of like wrap your baby up like a burrito and it's supposed to help your baby sleep. I remember doing that to my kiddos. But what the student wants to do is they want to use NASA tech and they want to sort of make it so that it'll adjust with the baby's body temperature to give it the perfect temperature. Now think about that. How do new moms evaluate these swaddlers or any type of gear they're going to use for their children? Is it parenting magazine? Is it word of mouth? Is he going to need some stamps of approval that it's not going to hurt the child, either through testing through UL, or maybe they can get a stamp of approval from the American Pediatrics Association, right? That would be one way where definitely a new parent, trust me, personal experience, that's where they're going to go. The third channel to think about is how do they purchase it? What is the exact process? Online, once again, brick and mortar, third party. Fourth is, how do you get them the product? Are you going to have it shipped directly from the manufacturer? Are you going to have the manufacturer send it to you? You're going to repackage, do some quality control, send it out? Okay, that's a channel. And then lastly, how are you going to handle after sales? How are you going to maybe sell a customer something more? How are you going to, if your customer has a problem with your product and service, that you're going to serve them and correct that problem? Those are your channels. You're going to think about what's most cost effective. Okay? What is the routine that your customer typically would go through in order to make these decisions? That's what you're thinking through. Yes, there's going to be some overlap with your customer segments, but there also might be some mutual exclusivity. Any questions? No? Okay. Revenue streams. What will your customers pay for? Are you just selling a product? Do you have a service? Do you have some maintenance options where they can pay you more to maintain things, to fix things? What are they? Are you going to be licensing? Is there advertising? I know there are a couple of app ideas out there. How are you going to make money with that app? This is where we start thinking about pricing. Okay. How are you going to price? Are you going to bulk pricing? Is it individual unit pricing? Are you going to use dynamic pricing? Anyone, what's dynamic pricing? Anyone? Morgan?
Isn't it already, isn't it basing off your competitor?
Typically no.
So like how many people are utilizing it at that time?
Exactly.
It's like surge pricing.
Exact. Surge pricing is a synonym. And so, what's your name? I'm sorry. What's your name?
I'm Madeline.
Madeline. So Madeline said, they mentioned surge pricing, which is synonym spot on. And it's like this pricing sort of change by demand, right? Or also supply. Great example is PERG. PERG, Purgatory Mountain Resort, or Purgatory Mountain, has gone to dynamic pricing. So last Christmas, when I had guests visiting me from Germany, and my eldest, who said they didn't want a ski pass that year, wanted to go skiing with everyone, I paid a jaw-dropping $240 for a lift ticket to PERG. Yeah, Madeline just gave me a face. I agree, Mal, that's how I felt too. That's dynamic pricing. Or what was that ski resort down in Arizona? What was it, last year? They charged $350 for one lift ticket. It was the most expensive ever in the United States. Dynamic pricing. Who does this really well are the airlines. The airlines use dynamic pricing. Okay, that's the reason why they always have a few extra seats at the very end, right before they're gonna leave, and it costs a bucket load. Okay, dynamic pricing. Okay. Any questions on this? Revenue streams? Okay. Next is key partners. Now, we're gonna talk about key partners, key activities, and key resources. The way Osterwalder recommends you using this is where you list, okay, the partners, activities, and resources that are absolutely critical to you to delivering your value prop. Okay? That's kind of the guardrails that Dr. Osterwalder puts on Business Model Canvas. Now, I kind of take a different approach. That approach is phenomenal. But my challenge is when I do this exercise for startups, is I'm always afraid I'm gonna miss something or that I have some type of bias where actually I don't really see how it's related directly to my value prop. So here's how I handle it, y'all, is I list everything. I list every single partner I can think of that's gonna be necessary for my success or getting this off the ground. I list every single key activity or every single activity I can think of, okay? Every single resource. It's a lot easier, I've found from my personal experience, to take this huge list and get it narrowed down to exactly what is going to be necessary to deliver that value prop. And also what I find is when I do that, it really helps with me understanding my costs. And also, that's gonna help with your financial model that we're gonna go over also. We're gonna do a 5-year financial model on here. Really amazing model that Mr. Gary Massner made for Hot Tank. And I'll share more about Gary in the future. Okay, that's how I handle it. Okay. So what are those suppliers? What are those partners that you need to make this happen? Okay, think about those resources you need. Where the heck are you gonna get them? Those activities you need. Where are you gonna get it? Okay. Now, what type of partnerships? What motivates partnerships? Obviously, efficiencies, efficiencies, efficiencies. Is there a partner that can do something for you better and cheaper? Then go with them. Okay? You focus on your product and what you do well. Everything else, find someone else to do it. Okay? Find someone else to do it. Also will help you reduce risk, reduce uncertainty. Many of you that are creating products are not going to manufacture them yourselves. Right? You're almost pulling like a Nike model. You're saying, hey, listen, we do not make shoes. We're a marketing company and we're a design company. We have other people manufacture for us. Great. Okay? That totally makes sense. It reduces the risk that you don't know what you're doing while you're trying to do it. Okay? You know that you're going to get something of quality. It's going to help you get specific resources, specific activities, key partners. Key activities. This is what you need to get your value props that you're looking for. To make your business model work. How are you going to do, what are your distribution channels? What are those relationships? How are you going to maintain those relationships? What are your revenue streams? How are you going to get those revenue streams? Product development, producing things, okay? These are your key activities. I would get into the weeds here again, y'all. I would talk about your HR. I would talk about accounting. I would talk about all of these sort of functional areas that you think are going to be important. You only have so many resources. So think about those activities. Key resources. What are those resources you need for those revenue streams you outlined? What are those resources you need for those relationships to leverage those channels? Okay? Yes, we're definitely going to need financial resources. But what is that, the human capital you need? What are those gaps that you don't have in terms of skills, in terms of capabilities? What about your intellectual capital? Do you need a patent? Okay. Are there copyrights, trademarks? Is there certain information, data you need? Okay. Definitely want to take a good look at that. And then lastly is your cost structure. Okay. Right-hand side, kind of pluses, left-hand side, kind of negatives when we think about sort of spending money or using resources or getting resources. Cost structure. Okay. Think about, so you have this laundry list of resources, laundry list of activities, right? Laundry list of customer segment, not laundry list, but you have a list. Start thinking about what's the cheapest ones to attack first. What are those ones that are critical and you absolutely need? Okay? Think about your business strategy. There are only, Michael Porter from Harvard says there are 4 generic strategies that all businesses fall into. And of those 4, really there are 2. And he kind of take the 2 and he broke them apart. Anyone know the 2 strategies every single company does? They either do this or they do this. What is it? Anyone know? This is, honestly, this or this. 2 strategies. I hear some Jeopardy theme music in my brain right now. No? Anyone online? No? Okay. You're either low cost or you're differentiation. That's it. Now, Michael Porter says, well, you can be niche low cost, broad low cost, niche differentiator, okay, broad differentiator. But really, it's 2 different strategies. They have different levers in terms of how you achieve it. They have different things you need to look for and focus on, okay? Let's think about this. Low cost. Why are we trying, like most low cost strategies, what are they trying to provide to their customer?
From what I've seen, there's usually a superior product out there, but if you can do it at a lower cost, you can, in a way, undermine that company and kick their business. Because if you're at a lower cost, why?
Okay.
A more expensive one.
Yeah. So Morgan said, well, you can if there's an incumbent, maybe they charge a higher price, and you can come in and kind of steal their business, right? So what do you mean by stealing their business? I know what you mean, but I just want you to kind of what do you mean by that? Steal their business. How would they steal their business?
If there's a superior product out there or it's just super similar, then why would I pay the name brand instead of just getting the exact same thing?
Perfect. So what I was looking for, Morgan, is how they do it is by price. Okay? Price. That's exactly what you explained. Great job. So yeah, that's it. Low cost, you're competing on price. Okay, now you think about that. How do we lower costs? Right? It's through things like economies of scale. Right? It means producing a whole bunch, spreading your fixed costs so actually each unit is cheaper. Right? Doing bulk purchasing. Having one design only, serving hopefully everyone. Right? Keeping it very simple. Okay, that's one strategy. Then you have differentiation. Right? Differentiation it's all the bells and whistles. Right? Maybe it's prestigious. What about that price? Is it low? No, it's high. Right? Because you're not competing, like what you're competing on is all these bells and whistles, and it's expensive. Very few, how I was trained was that you never can do both at the same time. And if you try that as an organization, the term for that is called straddling. So you're trying to straddle in terms of your strategy. Really, there's not many out there. Why? It's confusing, right? It's like when McDonald's tried to do a high-end coffee shop, McCafe. It failed miserably in the beginning. Why? Because they were trying to tout that it was a differentiated product, and they had this reputation of being low cost. And so it really hurt for them. It really hurt, okay? Can you guys think of any companies that I think maybe do it okay? That serve a differentiated product and a low-cost product, and I use that low-cost really kind of loosely. Anyone think? Grady first, and then Morgan?
Would you count like Lexus and Toyota?
No, they're 2 separate companies. Okay. And actually, it's like that example of Lexus and Toyota, it almost goes dovetail with that McDonald's. Right, was that Toyota recognized early on that they couldn't just come out with a premium model and charge 50, 100% more. They needed, because they were already sort of pigeonholed in how the world viewed Toyota, right? And so they said, look, we're gonna do a whole different brand, and that's gonna be our super differentiated product where we're gonna charge a lot of money. Other thoughts, Morgan? What do you think?
This might be wrong, but I was thinking like Amazon has every category. They have the high and the lows, and you can choose from each one.
Oh, I like that. Amazon, yeah, trying to serve everyone. I can see that. I actually wasn't thinking that one. The one that I think of are airlines. And even Southwest Airlines now, if you guys heard the most recent news. Southwest Airlines, for the entire life of their organization, only had one class of service. Yesterday they announced they're gonna have a premium class. Okay, Jeremy?
What about like an energy drink company, like Monster Energy? You can go into a gas station and I don't know, they're a couple bucks, but like they also have like Supercross racing, which is for the top 20 dudes in the whole world, and tickets for that are hundreds of dollars and limited amount of seats.
Now, is Monster putting that on, or is Monster doing the sponsorship for the organization putting it on?
They're the sponsor.
Yeah, so I think that's so Monster's still doing their thing. So Monster's still a differentiated product, right? Because I mean, what does a can of Monster cost at the gas station? Like $3, right? That's expensive. I mean, at least for me. I mean, I know I'm old, but you know what I mean. So no, I think like for them is they want to reach that kind of high end, and they want to reach kind of they want to reach two different market segments, and that's why they do it that way. The way I think of this is go back to the airlines. Okay, in the very front, right, 4 rows, you have what? Could be someone paid like $5,000 for a ticket. And then you have me back in the very last row by the toilets, right? And I paid like $300. That is like that's exactly what they're doing, right? Is they're trying to maximize their revenue by serving the high-end people, in quotes, and then serving customers like me, okay? But in general, if we think about any company in Durango, for example, they're gonna fall in one category or the other, right? Durango Joe's. I see some smirks here because I always hammer on Durango Joe's because I love coffee. Think about it. I live near college, the college Durango Joe's. Now, a large coffee, drip coffee at Durango Joe's now costs $4.50. Okay, I can literally walk a block in either direction and get a coffee for $1. Okay? What is the value, right, that Durango Joe's is creating that convinces individuals to spend, 3x, okay, on a cup of coffee when really, 30 yards away it's for $1. It's for the audience. What do you guys think?
Better coffee.
Better coffee, higher quality, right? Differentiated, love it, good answer. Grady.
Atmosphere and service.
Atmosphere and service, right? Because guess what's a block in either way? They're the gas stations, right? Not very good coffee. I totally agree with you. I've had them in all of them. And like Durango Joe's, right? You walk in and it's like, how can I serve you? If they have a long line, someone comes out, it's like, hi, can I please take your order? We'll have it ready when you get to the register, right? I love that. You want to study? You go in the back row and they have like the conference table, right? That's what you're paying for, okay? Jeremy.
That one kind of confuses me because if you're looking at it from the perspective of a gas station coffee, Durango Joe's looks like a higher quality product. But if you just came from like, I don't know, one of the fancier coffee shops downtown, Durango Joe's looks like a lower quality product. And I don't know. Like if I wanted to spend $4.50 on a cup of coffee, I'd go to like Durango Coffee Company or something.
I think now I'm just gonna be devil's advocate, Jeremy. I think that's taste, right? I think there are certain individuals who actually think, Joe's Coffee is better than Durango Coffee Company, right? I know there's a lot of debate in Durango about 81301, right? About their roasting and stuff too. So I think that's taste, right? I think that's normal. I don't view Durango Joe's as that mid-tier because really Hermosa coffee is actually cheaper than Durango Joe's. If you go into Hermosa, I'm really that much of a junkie, I apologize. But really, if you go into Hermosa, their coffee is cheaper than Durango Joe's.
Also, Durango Joe's has a rewards program.
Oh, I love it.
App, and you can
Yeah.
go in, and
So
the more money you spend, the more you get back.
Yeah, and that's where the value at. So Durango Joe's is trying to manufacture what they call a switching cost. Okay, through their value program. I'm a member. I got it on my app for sure. I have their app on my phone without a doubt. And what they're trying to do is, it's like airlines with frequent flyer sort of programs. Is they're trying to manufacture a switching cost. Because look, is it easy to switch what coffee shop you go to? Yeah, you literally just go a different direction. You walk in, you order the coffee. It's that simple. So what that means is that's simple to lose a customer. So what does Durango Joe's do? Is they try to figure out a way to incentivize and motivate you to come back, right? So if you order, a certain amount, you get points, and what do you get? You get free product, right? There are certain discounts only for app users. Was it last week? They did like a buy one, get one free if you order through their app. And so they're trying to manufacture these switching costs because guess what? If you happen to go to Durango Coffee Company, Hermosa, or 81301, you're losing out on your points and you're losing out maybe on that free coffee, okay? Or that free drink, whatever you're fancy, right? Yeah, totally. That's a great example of how really you kind of keep those customers. I love it. Okay, cost structure. Are we good? Okay. Cool. Now, when you're all doing this, okay, let me backtrack. When I started really using Business Model Canvas, I really struggled with it. And the reason why is I am super insanely wired to try to get things perfect. I'm super wired to try to find the answers to questions that maybe don't have an answer. And it really sort of caused at a certain level where almost like this paralysis, where I just wouldn't get anything done. But it's when I really reflected on that, my feelings and sort of my behaviors, is when I realized that guess what? We are guessing. Okay? Now, we're gonna show you other ways once you sort of have sort of some of your thoughts out there, you're sort of working on this, where we can do some investigating and try to confirm some of our guesstimations. But for this initial sort of run through, I'm going to kind of share with you what my recommendations. This initial run through is a hypothesis. You're making an educated guess. Because really, we can't figure this out probably until we actually do it, where the rubber hits the road. I mean, it's scary, I know. Okay? So, but be okay with that. Be comfortable as you can in this gray zone. Okay? It's scary, I get it. But also, I think it's kind of the exciting part of what you're all doing. It's super, super exciting. Because yes, we're gonna make a hypothesis. We're gonna make an assumptions about your customer segments, about the relationships they want, about the bells and whistles. But then we have to go test it. Let's go talk to people. Hi, if I had this product, how much would you pay for it? Okay? And then through this testing of assumptions, you are gonna adjust and you're gonna pivot, okay? That's the idea behind this. Any questions on that? Let's not worry about that. Okay, here's the recommendations on how to use this. Everyone in this room, I apologize, and also online, I have all the material for us. I'm gonna get everyone's information. I'm gonna get you posters, stickies. I have all the supplies for you, okay? So here's what I recommend. Is number one is, I'm gonna give you like these posters are like this size. They're big. I recommend your value props. Write it down on a sticky, put it up. Your customer segments, the entire thing. And just go in the order we just went through, okay? So you're gonna do 1 through 5, you're gonna do 6 through 9. Do the right side first, do the left side, okay? Every sticky gets one idea, okay? And the reason why is if that idea is no longer valid or you have a better idea, you're gonna take it off and you're gonna replace it. Now there's different sort of ways you can do this. We've already talked about, you have your customer segments, they're gonna align with specific value props, align with certain relationships, align with certain channels. Some users of this model like to differentiate between each customer segment. They deal with colored stickies. What I actually do is use kind of the same color sticky and I put little symbols on the sticky. So let's say one customer segment are high schoolers between a certain age group. I'll put like a little star in the bottom left. And then every value prop that relates to that customer segment, every relationship, maybe there's a mutually exclusive resource, I put that little star. And that's just so I can see, oh, here's how all the stars meet. Maybe you have another customer segment and they're a square is your symbol. So you might see some value props that only have the star. Maybe there's one value prop with a square and a star. So that's what I like to do, and that really kind of helps me get this visual of how it's all connected, okay? I've seen other entrepreneurs, they're like, it doesn't really matter. And they don't sort of differentiate between customer segments and those needs. Whatever works for you, I like that. That's just how I work, that's how my brain works. First pass, just get stuff down. Don't overthink, okay? Don't overthink. A lot of this stuff might be just anecdotal. It might be sort of your own personal experience. It's awesome. Go with it, right? For many of us, that's that gas that's getting us driven, right? Solving some problem. Totally cool. Then, once we have it up, what I like to do is, and I'm a total dork, I got it, is I like to actually put it up on a wall in my house. And I like to just walk past it, stop, look at it, cool, yeah, okay, I don't got anything new, walk past it. And then I walk past it, oh yeah, you have the aha moment, you're at your kitchen, okay, you're in your bedroom, sweet, you walk out there, you pick up a sticky, put it up there, okay? This is what I like to do. Then, as we continue Hocting, as we continue sort of this workshop series, you're gonna see us start drilling down. Okay, when we do our financial modeling, we're going to be drilling down on what? On your revenue streams and on your cost structure. And we're going to put real meat to it. Okay, we're going to have some forecasting. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions? And we will revise, we will review, and we will revise. And that is that process. Great examples, customer segments. We're going to talk about how you're going to come up with how many potential customers might be out there. Are you going to do it top down, bottom up? Right? What does that mean? Well, we'll go over it, but just a little visual is top down would be as what is the total population in the area you want to serve? Okay? Then you start describing your ideal customer segment and you get down to the total number of people that meet that in terms of behaviors, in terms of demographics, etc., right? Top down. Another one could be is you kind of describe that person, the ideal, and then you kind of figure out how many of those exist within your area. But we're going to talk you through all of that, okay? We're going to talk about how you go out and you actually survey and what questions you should ask. Should you ask yes and no questions? Should you ask open-ended, right? It's open-ended. Okay, but anyway, we're going to talk about all of that as we move forward, okay? What we'll then do is, we have a whole session, like half a session on customer development. We'll start thinking about, hey, once again, this is what we're just talking about. How do you validate these assumptions? How do we validate what you think is the right price and what the type of relationships are looking for? And so this will be all things that we'll explore through Hocting, and we'll give you some tips and some guidance on that. Now, this business model canvas, as you've already seen from our initial is, and also I know most of you have already looked at sort of what the requirements are for the business plan, is that we're gonna see things that do not exist on sort of the business model canvas that you're gonna need in the actual business plan, okay? And this business model, like I said, is gonna be the foundation. It's going to be the foundation how you're going to competitively position yourself. Think about it. You're telling me exactly how you provide value in ways your customers, your competitors don't. Okay, that's part of your business model canvas. So what you're going to be able to do is, hey, this is what my customers' needs are. This is what the competitors do, and this is why we're better. Okay, that's competitive position. There's no marketing model here. Okay, it doesn't tell, like, business model canvas doesn't really give you guidance, or it doesn't show, you know, your potential funders how you're actually going to enter the market. So we got to do that. But guess what? You've done a lot of the initial research already. You know the customer segments you want to go after. You know the relationships, and more importantly, you know the channels. You know how they find out about new stuff. You know how they make a decision. You know how they're going to buy. You know how they want to get their stuff, and you know how you're going to follow up, okay? Operations model, we're going to see that in your revenue streams as well as a little bit in your cost structure. Your financial model, that's where we're going to say, okay, What are your expectations that you can sell? What are the pricing? When do you break even? How much money do you need in order to get to that break even point? Okay, a lot of that's going to be driven by your initial thoughts on your business model canvas and then how you validate it. I'm so excited about the financial model. And I'm going to give a shout out for those sessions. We have Beta Alpha Psi will be helping us out. So if you feel this is one of your weaknesses, the Fort Lewis College chapter, the National Honor Society, is for the best finance and accounting students. They have volunteered to be your for free professional consultants. And so I'm really excited about that. No, I'm serious. It's a huge win for Hawk Tank. Yep.
When does that start? When can we start going to them?
I think that session is like in 3 weeks. Is in 3 weeks. And what's really cool too is they actually do another session where you can, after you've sort of worked on that, is where they actually have another session where you can go present to them. And then they give you feedback, and it's really a great relationship. Beta Alpha Psi has a community service component as being sort of part of Beta Alpha Psi, and thankfully they've selected us, Hawk Tank, you all, to be one part of their service commitment. It's really cool. They service San Juan College. For San Juan College participants, they'll be coming to your campus also a week after they're here at the Center of Innovation. And then lastly, that investment model, which we will drive from that financial model. So when you're done with your business plan competition, you're doing your pitch to the judges, you're really gonna be able to end the pitch like, and judges, if I have $30,000, I'll make this much by year 5, right? That's where we wanna play, and you're gonna get there, okay? You're gonna get there. Business model canvas. Any questions, y'all? Okay, once again, what is missing here? There's no competitive set, so we gotta do that, okay? There's no idea on exactly how much capital you need. We're gonna get that through the financial model, okay? I've already told you about the marketing plan, okay? If you are a big tech company, what is your tech plan? It doesn't really get into the details. It doesn't even have your management team, okay? And as you know, that's part of Hawk Tank, okay? It's part of Hawk Tank is doing a self-assessment on what you bring to the table and understanding what else you need to help you, need to supplement your skills and capabilities. Okay. That's it, y'all. Any questions? Anything at all? No? AJ?
Can we get a copy of this presentation?
Oh, absolutely. No, totally. So here's what I'll do, is I'm gonna get everyone's email address so I can send you this presentation. We post this on the schedule, but I'll just send it to you tonight or tomorrow morning. My pleasure. Yep.
With the financial modeling, are we gonna talk about like tax schedules and payroll and stuff
That's a
like
great
that?
question. We do not get into taxes. No, for Hawk Tank, this is really kind of this sort of, we've kind of designed Hawk Tank more for, students in these startups, right? And kind of just really sort of beginning the process. If anyone wants that 5-year model sooner than later, you can make a little note on your email address. I'll send it to you tonight or tomorrow, and I think you'll dig it. So the recommendations we got, so the gentleman that created it was a gentleman by the name of Gary Masner. Gary Masner is one of the founders of the Southwest Colorado Accelerator Program for Entrepreneurs, SCAPE, locally. He was on the board of Stone Age Tools. He's probably done like 4,000 startups in his career. So he's the one that created our model. It's something that I believe the foundation might be from Deloitte & Touche, because that's where he was a partner back in the days. And so there are certain things that Gary just said, we're not ready for that, right? So things like taxes were not there. And there might be a couple other things that really, he said, look, don't worry about that right now. What you're really worried about, at least from where we are, is understand how much money you're getting in, how much money you're getting out, and I'll even show you the model when we close down, because you'll see it's super robust. It's awesome, okay? But there are certain things, he said, he's like, well, I don't know exactly what Gary said, but it's almost like your return on your time investment is not worth it at this stage. And I'm paraphrasing for him, okay? Now, if you're at a stage where, look, I really need that, Michael, Dr. Valdez, we'll figure something out, okay? And I have Gary on a speed dial, okay? He's my guy, right? And so we can do that. But really, take a look at this model first, and I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised, okay? Pleasantly surprised. Cool. Anything else, y'all? Okay, well, thank you so much. Next week, we are actually going to have a 100% virtual session. We're doing legal. Our speaker is going to be the gentleman by the name of Eric Prosser. Eric Prosser is a lawyer, and he's also now down at Arizona State University, and he's run patent offices. He's actually out of their engineering program right now. And so he's going to come and run that session. I'm actually going to be at the US's sort of largest sort of entrepreneurship conference presenting on rural entrepreneurship education. I'm just going to share Fort Lewis's story. And so I've been invited to be a guest speaker at this part of this really awesome panel. I can't believe it. Definitely have a little bit of I'm a little nervous here, but I'm stoked to share our story because we're doing some amazing work here. So you'll obviously get the heads up as always. We're going to use the YouTube channel. We kind of migrated from Zoom to YouTube. We just think it's a little bit more robust. And so that's where that will be running live. And then, like always, we'll record it. So if you can't make it, that's fine. But once again, we'll keep you in the loop, and you'll have all that information. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for your time and attention. And as always, if you have any other specific questions, reach out to me. I'd love to serve and support you. And good luck this week. And I look forward to you all attending next week's session. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.